Let's take a look at how we could easily build a very simple stool that fits actually the height. So I'm going to make a new document, set it to centimeters, create a new sketch. Let's rotate my view, and let's say the base should be 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters. So I go to 2-point rectangle, and I think this should be the 2550 mark. Nope, that was too high. Okay, not a big deal. I can show how we can recenter a sketch. Okay, so there is my sketch. Obviously it's not centered correctly. There's one very simple way. If, for example, we select all these lines, go to move, I would like something in the center to click to there, and click to this cross like between red and green. There's the world center point. I can click on that as well. Cancel. Let me do this again. So if I shift click all these lines and go to point, you see it finds the midpoints, the endpoints, and here's the center point. So click, and there we are. Okay. Can put down some dimensions, for example. Okay. And now I would like to be able to have a more simpler way to adjust my dimensions without everything being deformed like here, and then having to use the mirror tool. We can actually do this nifty trick. From the center outwards, and draw myself a line, and I do the same from here to there. These two lines, for example, I can turn into construction lines, and I can fix them. Let's go to constraint, and actually could say this line have its midpoint on this line. So this constraint will always maintain this line's midpoint on this line. So midpoint, this one, or to this line. There's a triangular constraint. This line have its midpoint constraint to this line. Click OK. Now watch what happens if we change this one to 40 and 40. So you see it perfectly scales to my world center. So this is another really nice way. And it's really important that these lines are not necessarily construction, but they have to be fixed, so they cannot move. So by changing this dimension, I'm shortening the line, and this constraint keeps this line's midpoint on this line. That's the whole trick behind it, or the logic. Okay, with this one done, we can click OK, exit the sketch. Then we can extrude it out. For example, let's say 45. And let's say we would like to have a really small slope. So we can actually either work with the rotation U to taper it outwards or inwards. By how many degrees? And maybe I go just with 2 degrees, just a small one. Okay. That doesn't look too bad. Let's say we would like the whole thing to be rounded. So select the fillet, this one, all these lines here. And maybe 5 centimeters. And let's say 3 or 5 look better. I don't really like those edges here, so I could flip the corner style. So I have this type of edge rounding. That's option 1. Or I could simply round those with 5 and round this one maybe with 4. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, it still works, but you see it's getting really tight here. So that's possible as well. Okay. Now if for example, I would like the whole thing to be made out of something solid inside, and I would like to have an upholstery part on top, I could, for example, create an offset plane from the base. Whoops, okay. So here I have to hide my bodies for the moment. Oops, not sketch, origin, that one I want to see. Offset, this one. Let's move this one up, maybe 35, okay. Let's go to the side view, that's roughly here, so maybe this is not enough. Let's push this one up a notch more. Okay, I really dislike actually this edge rounding, so I delete that one, edit, and add those edges with this corner style, nicer roundings. Okay, let's take a look. It's there. Nah, okay. Before, actually, no. From the side, this looks terrible. I think before that other one was not too bad. I'll leave it. Let's leave it for a moment this way. So, why did I create this offset plane? Well, I can simply go ahead and say split my body, this body, with this construction plane. This one, there. So I don't need really to create myself a sketch or something. I can simply create a plane and use the plane for splitting. Okay. And there now you see I have two different bodies, the lower part and the upper part. And maybe I can make this one work by simply adjusting the radius of the fillet, maybe 4. Let's see. Yeah, it's still below. So, okay. I will simply go back and go to that previous design idea. Now I have to move my time marker to here, so I can enter the correct value. I think 5 will break, or yeah, does something like this. So 4. What about 3? Or 2? And we can go back. Perfect. So if the upper part should be some sort of foam material, we can't really have such a hard edge. So I'm hiding this part and then actually giving this a really small radius. Maybe 1. Oh, that's too much. 0.5 maybe. And the same for the wood part. Currently this is just a solid block. Of course that's not necessarily accurate. Well, we can keep it for the moment this way. 2.5 there. So that works, for example. We could actually, to simulate more the way how it should look, by shelling it out, maybe with a 2 centimeter or 3 centimeter thickness. So there we see it's everything is kind of shelled. Let's say that's a injection mold, not injection, plastic mold we used to make it. And we can give this one a different material, and we can give this one a different material. And I hope that basically this showed you kind of like simple sketch, different type of making the sketch stable. So for example, here if we, for the sketch, also show the dimensions, here again we have the pleasure of simply adjusting these values, and then everything is being updated instantly. It's a pretty fantastic process. Okay, so that's everything for a very linear looking stool.